Did you hear the news? The CFL and the XFL, they officially announced a merger in a press release. Or is it an April Fool's joke? You make out with the press release that I'll share in this video. Hi there, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel on this first day of April in 2021. Fairly recently, it was announced that the CFL and the XFL, they were engaged in discussion on a possible partnership. I did make a video and give my various thoughts and opinions, but it just seemed very suddenly for this announcement to come out that they have agreed to merge and they have outlined some conditions. So let's take a look at this press release. And let's just say, was it true? Or is it an April Fool's joke? So it says right here, joint statement on behalf of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson of the XFL and Randy Ambrosie of the CFL, the commissioners of their respective leagues. They put in a press release, I'll put it that way. It says, we are extremely excited to announce the official merger of the XFL and the CFL for a minimum contract term of no less than 5 years. Some encouraging news. There has been discussions on both leagues, talking about a possible partnership, and I've seen a lot of variances on how it is going to work. And maybe it could be beneficial of both leagues, but could it come at the expense of some, let's say, rules and Canadian traditions? And this is what this press release talks about. So how would you feel if this was actually true? Well, it says it's been a long road for both our leagues, and at this moment in time, we know this will strengthen each other operating as one and push through this difficult time into a prosperous future. As you know, COVID definitely has been screwing things up for well over a year. Gee, remember when it was supposed to be just 2 weeks to flatten the curve? Well, I think we're in week 57 of that right now. But here is what they said. Although we have not ironed out and decided all the rules, we feel it's important to share some of the main rules we have already committed to as a group. Here is where it gets, let's say, funny. 4-down football. So we'll have to succumb to 4 downs. No fair catch rule. That's, we have the no yards within the 5 yards. And if you catch it in the air, that's a 15-yard penalty. Or if it's picked off on the ground, it's 5 yards if you're not within 5 yards within the player picking up the ball. That is our compromise. And no fair catch pretty much kills any returns. How about the goalposts will be located where they currently reside in the CFL game? So right at the goal line, as opposed in the back of the end zone. For the American game, the Rouge, the single point, either for a missed field goal or a long punt that goes out in the end zone, will be discontinued. That's what it says in this press release. 12 players per team on the field. So we'll get to have both sides. We'll have 12 players. But it also talks about the Canadian ratio will be discontinued. That might not go over too well with the Canadian talent, as we have that ratio, which keeps you unique to field or roster. But that is a hot button to debate about should we keep it or not. I know when the CFL was in the U.S., actually that ratio rule did not apply for the U.S.-based teams. And here's the last part. It's going to be a little kind of a compromise between the Canadian and American game, a 30-second play clock instead of 45 seconds in the NFL. I believe it's the same in the XFL. It's 40 seconds, I believe, at college, but we have 20 seconds. So it's kind of a mixture between the two in this press release, shall we say. And then it also talks about the Canadian fans were extremely important to this merger. Do we say so now? Although, for the first season, because of COVID-19, we have all games, including the playoffs to be played in the United States. So no Stampeder games here in Calgary. Mm-hmm. The championship game will still be named the Grey Cup. All right, because we need to keep that tradition alive. And the league will be referred to as the XFL/CFL for the inaugural season. That's going to be a mouthful to say. And the inaugural season will also transition to a new league name and a new championship game name. Oh no. We're going to lose the name of the Grey Cup. More details to come, along with the rule changes and starting dates. We'll be excited to announce this much before now so you fans can get excited for us. So that was the press release between the XFL and the CFL. So I'm going to say, is that really they come to agreement? Both the XFL and the CFL have merged. I mean, this press release came out, this morning on April 1st. Is that a coincidence, or is it an April Fool? I'm actually leaning towards it's an April Fool right now, because we still want to try to keep as much of the Canadian traditions. And I think right now the CFL, well, it's still an alright idea to discuss potentially partnership with the XFL, and maybe be beneficial for both leagues to get players a chance to play and get exposure to potentially maybe go to the NFL. The CFL, I know right now, is still more concerned about business this season here in Canada, on being able to hopefully have a season and be able to function with fans in attendance. Because I definitely need to be back at McMahon Stadium. So that's what I do. Plus, with all this COVID stuff, I feel that I'm only not going to be able to start healing mentally until I can start going to the game, when we're allowed to go to the game. But that's a pretty good press release. A very good press release to keep the talk of the XFL, CFL potential partnership merger alive. But I like how it just says we are committed to the Canadian fans. However, taking out a lot of the Canadian rules and all the games that can be played in the U.S. That's very funny. April Fool! So anyway, as I say, if you want to follow along with this Calgary sports fans' journey, home of the Flames, Hitmen, Roughnecks, and Stampeders, you know what you do, just make sure you like, subscribe, as I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, recapping games, talking stories like this. It sounded like, the XFL and the CFL, suddenly, it was just last month, they were just talking, partnership, kicking tires, to come up with this agreement. But I think it was an April Fool. But I also do a variety of non-sports content, like personal vlogs, attempt at comedy, and I also do share my experiences I'm on the road at a sport event, hopefully soon, at a Calgary Stampeders game. Especially on Labor Day when the Jets fly over McMahon Stadium. Remember those times from 2019 and back? That was a different time back then, but hopefully, maybe we'll get a taste of that this year in 2021, regardless if we are merged with the XFL or not. So if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along with this Calgary sports fans journey, you know what you do, just make sure you like, subscribe. I also have my other social media links down in the description below for other ways you can follow me. So I'm going to say, go Stamps go. I love my Canadian football. But I am potentially open to the idea of this partnership or merger, if it makes sense for both leagues and if it'd be beneficial to both leagues. But there were definitely some outrageous things in that press release. So as I want to say, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Go Stamps go.